want to do is really speak about something that's so important. I think we know a little bit about speaking here, right? So I'm coming really as a peer, not so much as the expert, but really we all learn together. And what I want to do is first establish some agreements. Is that okay? The first agreement is that we will be involved. Is that a fair agreement? Yes. All those in favor, raise your hand, all right? So if I say potato, you say? Potato. I say tomato, and you say? Tomato. Okay, great. That's good involvement. All right, no one's fallen asleep yet. The second thing is, and this is a very serious one, if you find information that I give you as valuable, please go back. Please, 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 please. Go back and look at the information. Not just from myself, but definitely from what Cliff has brought here, as well as Luana as well. Because a lot of the information here I am finding is in direct alignment to what I'm really all about. And I'm finding, I feel just like family here. The messaging here is so heartfelt. Because it's not about just the technical aspects of speaking, but the messaging as well. Is that an agreement?
Yes.
If you find it valuable, you will go back and do that. Because if I do my job right, because I value your time, and I hope you value mine as well, right?
Right.
And what we want to do is be able to bring you information that could possibly get your message out, build a bigger audience maybe, but how about this? Possibly save your life or someone else's. Is that fair? A little extra bonus. And the purpose of today is to really help us be the difference through our speaking, to not just speak well, but to do well speaking. And what I want to do is get everyone involved, but I must make sure that all of us are focused. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
So I'm going to go ahead and just start with a test to bring us all together to calibrate ourselves. What do women love to do?
Shot.
Oh, that's, yeah, in all cultures, right? All right, I want you to say shot 3 times. Shot, shot, shot. All right? What I'm going to do is, just to make sure you hone in and really focus, I'm going to let you know right up front. All right, Beth, I'm going to trick you. Fair enough?
Yep.
All right? Gloria, I'm going to trick you. All right? Cliff, I'm going to trick you. Are we all clear? My purpose is to trick you. So I'm going to have you say shot 5 times. I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question. Don't think about the question, but I want you to yell out what the answer is. And I'm going to let you know, if I do my job right, I will successfully trick you. Fair enough? You've all been warned. I've set up this platform. We're going to say shot 5 times, and then I'm going to ask a question. What are you guys going to do?
Answer.
Yell out the answer, all right? Okay, here we go. Shot, 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 shot. What do you do when you come to a green light?
Shot.
Go. Go.
Really? To a green light.
Green light, go.
Okay, now I just want to clear a myth here. I just want to clear a myth. Asians are not the only one having problems with it, okay? So I just want to thank you. Now I can believe we are all calibrated together, all right? And this is a very important message, because what we have to share, I have to say, I have to give kudos to Luana, right? Luana Parker, because your message was very heartfelt. I can tell why you are not just a distinguished Toastmaster, but twice you are a distinguished Toastmaster. Cliff, the information you gave is very invaluable in terms of just the structure of speaking. That encompasses what Toastmasters is all about. And what I want to do is just have us think about our message. And if the information is received properly, and if I deliver it properly, you'll be able to amp your message and build a larger and active audience base. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Now what I want to do is basically draw your attention to the newspaper. If I can go ahead and have this newspaper here. On page 7, all right, you can go ahead and turn there if you choose to. I'm not going to go too far on this, but we actually have a page for Solutions for Life. And I actually write about the senior market and just things to think about. I try not to bore people with the facts and statistics about seniors, kind of the fatality rate and all that. But really, this is a great page that we try to really accentuate and educate people through the community about relevant things. Now, interesting thing is, if you go ahead and take a look, this is from the APA News and Review. And why am I sharing this with you? I want you to feel enriched by something that you probably haven't seen before. How many of you have seen this new paper?
I have.
Okay, maybe very few
It was a
people.
long time ago.
Right. Go through this. This is really to educate and inspire participation and be able to give you information about probably communities that you might not be aware of, or you might not know how they think and what's going on. Is this a good thing to enrich your life a little bit? All right, so I want to go ahead and make sure that you're aware of this, and I'll go ahead and refer back to this. But what I want to do is get back to the primary purpose now that we're all focused, in terms of really being able to establish an effective and amp up a powerful message. Now, one thing I want us to be able to do is think about the fact that if I was to ask you the question, what is your cause in speaking? How many of you can answer that question? Okay. There's no, it just is. It's not good or bad, it just is. I think this is one of the most important questions that you can ask yourself. Because I'll tell you, I was so fortunate growing up. Have any of you been familiar with Rotary and Lions Club and those sort of things? I actually grew up through some of those speeches, and I actually was able to trophy, and we had a great time being able to earn a little bit of money for college. They give you $500, you think, wow, this is a lot of money, I'm going to send myself through college. You know what you really realize? You really realize that's not a whole lot of money, you know, doing everything else, right? And on the $5,000 speech, you know what happened? For whatever reason, it was mine. It was mine. I don't feel better, but it was mine. But the fan kicked on, and they said, oh, we couldn't hear you as well as we could the other person. And not to take away from the other person, but that cost me $5,000. That little bit of knowledge, all right? So I'm here maybe to recoup that and to really be a difference for people. But in all sincerity, one of the first things that I want you to be able to think about is to identify the cause of why you speak. My cause, I'm realizing, is to help other people that help other people. Let me tell you, if you met people that are really passionate about their cause, they take care of other people, they're getting the message out, they are sacrificing, they're putting their money, their heart, soul, energy, maybe to save a life, maybe to save wells, whatever their cause is. All the causes are very noble. It's very interesting. People that take care of people, you know, people when they get disabled, they call those people caregivers, right? Guess what? The highest anxiety and suicide rate is in what profession? Caregivers. Because people that care for other people, the irony is that who do they lack caring for usually? Themselves. That is why I am so passionate to make sure that people that are taking care of other people and really making a difference, that they themselves are being taken care of. And I'll tell you, I'm one of those people, you know, I like to give, and I realize I have my profession in the financial arena, but really my heart, you know, you can help a lot of people here, but my heart really lies in really giving to the community. That's why I've gotten involved in more and more things, and it's funny. It's funny because the more things you do, guess what happens? You get asked to do what? More things. And some of this is really good stuff. You are helping communities. But one thing that is sad about it is that sometimes you have to jeopardize, if you're not positioning yourself right and really monetizing your message, right, being able to monetize it successfully, you're going to give up a lot of your income. And eventually, you know what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to continue what you're doing. And I want us to think about, as we're cause-based, you know, what our cause is in terms of where we speak. I want us to definitely think about taking care of ourselves. But the first thing, in terms of really being able to create an effective message and a passionate message, is to understand your cause. I will tell you, one of the things that really struck me was a person that had spoken about the veterans. He was over at my mom's gravesite over in East Lawn in Sacramento, and one of the things that I realized was when he was talking, I've heard about the military before. How many of you have walked by a veteran that has been asking for money? How many of you have taken the time to give them money? Okay, several. How many of you have taken the time to really just spend time to hear their story? That is great. There are some of you that have. And I'll tell you, I'm one of the people that will probably just walk on by. And this guy, Chris Lambert, he is a retired veteran, 3-time wounded veteran. He's a veteran that they had to speak on behalf of the Purple Hearts in California when they had the acknowledgement of Purple Hearts veterans. In California, he spoke, and he is always speaking on behalf of retired veterans, and he dedicates his life's mission and cause to helping people that have served our country. So I want to thank you for bringing out that message as well, because it's a very powerful message. But I'll tell you, one thing I felt when he started talking about the Memorial Day, because that's what it was all about, and just the things where we celebrate our freedom, it really made me think, because he said, he shared his own story. He said that every time a barbecue grill pops, what do we think of usually? Oh, that steak, barbecue, family. He said for many veterans, it's a very scary time. Now, I could not even begin to articulate the way he could, because he was out there in the field. Just what that means to a veteran when they've been in war, they've seen gunfire, they've literally seen their partner's leg shot off or their head shot off. Just what that means to them, because they are thinking, is there something wrong? And he himself, he said, he shared this, he said that driving up Sacramento, there's a Sacramento corridor where there's a bunch of barbed wire for the longest time. He had to go around and actually drive an extra 15, 20 minutes around this one area because the barbed wire, what it meant to him, because he was a combat veteran, out there a lot in the field, seen a lot of people die. To him, it meant, you know, in Vietnam, to him, a lot of the Vietnamese soldiers and stuff when they were in war, a lot of people that got killed, guess what they did with the bodies they couldn't get back? They covered them in barbed wire and they dragged them to where they did to put them in a hole to bury them. That's what it meant to him. So, in very true sense of the word, when we think of a veteran, we should really think of how grateful we need to be. Not to feel bad, but to feel grateful. But I'll tell you, that message, just the cause that he had in terms of really letting us know about what our freedom costs somebody, it resonated with me. And ever since then, about 2.5 years ago, I decided every time I speak, where it was appropriate, I would bring up honoring the people that are in the military. Is that a good thing? Yeah. But I'll tell you, a lot of that happened because he made a decision. He made a decision to really base his speaking on his cause, which is to bring awareness to us on freedom that we have, which is not free, but also on the fact that, you know, through the sacrifice of many, you know, a lot of us, we should be grateful. When a veteran comes back, that we should really extend our hand to thank him. And I'll tell you, it really touched me because I see veterans now in a whole different light. And I'll tell you, a lot of times we don't really appreciate freedom or the sacrifice that other people do so that we can live our good life. So that whole thing about the cause, what is your cause? And do you have that same level of passion to get that message across? And what I want to do is just really give you the practical here in terms of identifying your cause, is to really think about, is it relevant to your audience? Now, if I was talking about the water treatment plant and all the chemicals that go into a water treatment plant, I could probably bore you to death, right? But, you know, if you pick a cause that's really significant, that resonates with people, this is really key in terms of the practical. And definitely something you are passionate about. I will tell you, there's a lot of opportunity to talk about a lot of different things, and I hope that you align yourself with something you can speak about on a very consistent basis, because people can feel your heart. That's why your message resonates with us, because we can feel your heart. That's who you are. I'll bet you anytime, anywhere, we can go ahead and just say, can you please speak on this for 5 minutes? You can probably come up and do it, right? We can say speak 2 hours. It's a little more challenging, but you can do it as well. And the whole thing is that when we have our cause, it's something that we can speak because it's the core of who we are. Do you think that amps up your message a little bit? So think about what you speak about. Is it something you're really passionate about? The second thing is really designing your message and titling your message when you decide what you want to get across to your audience. And this is very important. Even from how you title your message, it makes a big difference. I know for me, sometimes, I think a title is important. I kind of try to do some kind of thing. Create a signature talk. Create a talk that people know about and they just say, wow, I want to hear that, or my friends need to hear that. I will tell you, when I designed my first signature talk, we try to educate people in the financial arena, right? How many of you like to learn about insurance and all the statistics and why that's good for you? We kind of know that. But the whole thing is that when I go ahead and retitle it, and I got a lot of help, I actually had a professional mentor help me with the titling, and now my title is The 3 Money Mistakes That Screw Up Families and the Generations to Come. Does that kind of grab you a little bit more? Because I'm passionate about it. I've seen families totally devastated when they were doing fine because somebody passed away and they were just unprepared. And so the messaging which you want to get across, it is so very important to really hit people on an emotional level, not just a factual level. Giving facts is great, but really giving the message, the core, just your heart, that really brings up what? The emotion to your message. And I really think this is a great time to have Chris and who want to speak. I want to refer to this because I just thought, honest, we did collaborate before this talk, but I thought the messaging, because we absolutely need to know the technical aspects of speaking, and I think just the heart of it, that coming together was just powerful. Toastmasters is awesome. I know many of you that are professional Toastmasters are involved here. Just by nature of being here, you speak better than anyone else. Around people give you good, positive feedback. But one of the things that I want to encourage you on is just really think about what your message is going to be. And when you think about your message, I want you to ask yourself one key question. Do you want to play small or do you want to play big? Small is, I'm just going to speak, if I have your permission, financial read, okay? Small is that, well, I hope that you get some insurance because it's going to take care of your family and give you all the facts, right? To think big, a bigger picture, what I'm passionate about. I want you to think of the effects. If you don't take care of yourself, it's not about you. If something was to happen to you and somebody else has to pay that $5, $10, $15, $1,000 a month, how that's going to affect them. If you're married, if you die, how that's going to affect your survivors. That's playing big, right? A message that can really make a big difference in people's lives. And I hope that you decide to play big because honestly, as we grow up in life, guess what we lose the ability to do? To play big. As we're small, I saw this friend, they posted this thing. 2 kids were just here, they had, that sheet on the back as capes. And they're like, with my friends, I can do anything. And the pretty incredible thing, as we grow up, we learn, oh, I can't do that. I cannot do that. And we lose our ability to dream. And that is sad. But I hope that we all decide to be children and really play big. In our messaging, decide, we are not going to just make people think about it. Now, there are different types of messages. Perhaps that is an appropriate message to make people think about some things, such as some of the speakers did here today. Perhaps it's a message later that can gear into really having somebody take action and do something big. You might ignite something. You might be that spark that really starts a fire. Wouldn't that be exciting? And they'll come back and they'll say, wow, I remember that talk. I was just so unthankful. And now I started this whole organization that employs all veterans that I can find. And my gosh, we are employing so many veterans. You know why? Because I sat down and I heard Luana's message. Wouldn't that be inspiring? Would you like to hear that?
Yes.
And I hope that we decide to play big because we all have that opportunity to. Now, as we design our message, I know that I have a friend, Mary Nicholson, that started Healing's Emotion. It's all about stroke awareness, brain health, and we actually had our first brain aneurysm meeting in San Joaquin County on behalf of the hospital that invited us in. Actually, when talks, the American Heart Association wants us to actually do the stroke aspect because they don't really put a lot of money in that general area. They have a stroke walk, but we're kind of local, so they want us to help them get the messaging out on stroke potentially, and it would be a win-win. But the whole thing about Mary's message, if you understand, her husband died of pancreatic cancer. She herself was paralyzed. She had an aneurysm. She went to the hospital. Ambulance took her to a hospital. Her head was literally not able to sustain itself. They just left her. They figured, oh, there must be something, it'll pass. Because they didn't understand what stroke was all about, right? I think the hospital was a little concerned. What might she do, come back? And maybe, well, there's this name called Sue, right? But the whole thing is she didn't decide to do that. A friend finally came there and said, something is wrong. You need to get her in there now. To us, some of these things are commonplace. Then it wasn't. That's why when you go ahead and you think about the things that we have, the information that we have, don't take it for granted. But I think about her messaging, and when I go to one of her events, I heard somebody share they had an aneurysm. What happened was that this person was driving along the freeway, she just went blind. She said, for 15 seconds, I was blind. You want to know what happened? I'm like, I want to know what happened. She was just praying to God that she would not crash into anything, because she could literally not see. She was having some sort of major life episode in those 15 seconds. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. She is not a trained speaker. She has not got all these great techniques. She was just sharing her story. And the whole thing was, it gravitated towards us, because really, whether she realized it or not, her cause was conveying that anything can happen to you at any time. And the question is, are you prepared? That is why that cause is so important to the group as a support group. Does that make sense? Now, the whole thing is that the reason why I shared with you that story is the fact that the techniques are awesome. When you put them together, oh, they are incredible, but there's a blend. If you get the messaging right and you speak from your heart, sometimes the techniques are not quite as important, as long as your message is powerful and it's clear. And so what I want you to consider is really think about, as you develop your message, what do you want to convey? It could be a little bit about speaking. We got some incredible tips actually from the speaker here today. But do you want to play a bigger game? Save lives. And what I want to do is ask this question. How many of you have heard of this concept called FAST as it applies to stroke? Okay. What does FAST stand for?
F-A-S-T. Time is T.
Mm-hmm.
F is face. If
Face,
the
right.
face goes down.
Yep.
S is speech, if they have a hard time to
Correct.
speak. F-A, forget it.
A stands for the arms.
Oh, if their arms are
Yeah.
limp. So if their face goes
Yep.
numb, their arms are limp, their speech is slurred, then you only have a certain amount of time to get it in.
That's correct. And I'll tell you,
That's because it's relevant to me.
that is. Okay, so did you have
10 years ago, I would never remember it.
Okay. Well, is it relevant because somebody in your family had a
No,
stroke?
because I'm 66.
Oh, okay, there you go. As we get older, things become more and more important.
Young guy.
But I will tell you, I'm going to give you each a fast card here. Here's the amazing thing. The cause of what we have is just to educate you. Now we know face, arm, speech, and time. Because time is brain cells. May or may not be real. Oh, that's great information to talk about. I guarantee you, if you cannot communicate, you're going to wish somebody knew this. Why not tell your friends now? Does that make sense? And here's the amazing thing. This information we're trying so hard to get out. If I give you a card, would you promise to share this with somebody, what FAST is? Is that a fair commitment?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal. Even walking into this hospital, do you realize they have a poster that says FAST, think fast, and it defines it right out this hallway? But still we don't get it because it's not relevant to us at this time. That's why we want to get out the message. Now, why do I share this? Because my whole promise is that I will perhaps give some ideas that might help you amp up your message, but also create an active audience and also save your life or someone else's. Have I done that? Okay, I just want to make sure I fulfilled that. Because if I put it out there, I don't want to be an empty speaker that comes back, makes all these promises, and doesn't deliver. And this goes to my last point here. In terms of really the people you work with, do you think of win-win scenarios? The third thing in terms of really having a powerful message, also being able to develop an effective audience or following if you choose to, is to be able to create win-win scenarios. Now, does anyone know what a win-win scenario is? Can you tell me real quick?
We'll get something
Okay.
of what we want.
What is it?
When we both get something of what we want.
Great. All right. Now I'm going to pick on this arena because some of us have probably been approached in this arena. It's not about it being good or bad, just for illustration purposes. Do I have your permission to do that? All right. So on network marketing. Network marketing is awesome if you understand the products, all right? But really, if you really understand it, really what it's about is telling you about a product. I want to get you into the business because if you sell, I'm going to make more money as well, right? That is a win, possibly lose scenario. You may not be interested in it, but I'm going to make you interested in it because if you buy, I get a little commission, right? That's a win-lose scenario. Now, I'm not saying all companies are like that. I'm just using that as an illustration. A win-win scenario is when you ensure that everyone wins. And so, as an example, all right, I will establish something that I think is really important. Is a concept. It's not a new concept, but really creating win-win instead of win for one, okay? And here's how it goes. If I'm going to benefit from you, guess what I have to do? I have to benefit you somehow. Is that a fair exchange?
Yeah.
Let me give you an example of this right in the room. Cammie Ferry, can you raise your hand real quick? Raise your hand, you just raise your hand. All right, now she's somebody that's phenomenal in terms of health and wellness. You can see she's in shape, not like me. I got perfect shape round, right? But what she's volunteered to do so graciously for Healings in Motion is to create a stroke walk on behalf of Solutions for Life, right? On behalf of Solutions for Life for Healings in Motion. Healings in Motion now gets to benefit as we grow the awareness there of her weekly walk. Now, does Healings in Motion gain? Absolutely, right? Does Solutions for Life gain? Because we're helping orchestrate some of it? Does she gain because of the reputation she's going to get? Yes. That's a win-win-win all the way around. And I hope that as you deal and work with different people, you think that way. Because I will tell you, when things get scarce and there's like one piece of meat left on the plate and you're hungry, it's like you don't want to split it. You want to take the whole thing, right? And I've been there, by the way. I have my confession when it was that incredible piece of chocolate with that luscious strawberry. I did take the last one. But anyway, it's all about the right mindset of establishing a win-win scenario. And if you benefit from people and you give back to them, here's the ironic thing. Will they support you in your cause?
Yes.
They will be more passionate in some cases about you if you can, here's the name of the game, if you can get them to understand what your cause is. And so I really encourage you to think about really establishing win-win scenarios. Now, I want to give you some practicals here as well. One, go ahead and find out the people that are in alignment with you, because it's so important to be able to work with people that you're going to be working with for a long time probably, right? But are in alignment with you, so you're not always finding them on concepts. However, I'm not saying agree with you, because you want differences of opinion to make some things happen properly. You want different perspectives. But people that are in alignment. Does that make sense? If you're a person that says, if I do it, I'm going to deliver, it's not good for you to hang around people that say a lot of things that don't deliver. Wouldn't you agree? And so, really align yourself with the right people. The second thing is see how many people, I make this a game, that I can help their cause. Hey, if they're doing something great, like your cause is honoring the veterans, Rowena, as you so graciously put out there, if I help you with that and I invite you to speak, what are you going to think about me?
Next time somebody start talking about financial situation.
Yeah.
I thought you mentioned finance.
Yeah, are you going to appreciate what I did?
Yes.
Yeah, and I say, hey, I really need your help. I'm going to be speaking at this Speakers Bureau Toastmaster group. I would really love for you to be there. If you're available, can I count on your support? Are you going to come?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, there's just this whole heart. If you live a life of giving, it is true. Zig Ziglar said, if you want what you want to accomplish, you help other people accomplish what they want to accomplish. It is so true. But establish those win-win scenarios. And Solutions for Life, I am so excited. We have some various events that Victor's been to as well, where we pull together a lot of people. We're just in alignment. We really like to give. We really like to give to the community great information, and really, whether it be about healthcare, wealthcare, self-care, really make sure that our cause is taken care of. That everyone knows, in my case, people have a plan in place in the various arenas. People that are on self-care, that people have that emotional support that they need when they're feeling, I can't take it somewhere, I lost my job, a lot's going on. People that are eating properly, which I eat a lot. I'm not saying I eat properly, okay? That's why I need people like that. And what I want to do is just conclude with this thought. Really, if you focus on the things that you're passionate about that really make a difference in people's lives, and you can have a call to action for them, that is something that's going to be so powerful. Your message will be heard because it will be who you are, not what you say. And I encourage you to really think about designing, of course, in your messaging, the stories that will really grab people. Practice those stories. Tell those stories over and over again. And as a speaker, you want to just keep, you want to be able to relay your message. And so, in concluding here, think about the difference you can make about, with the people that are around you. And I thought of this quote by Christine Todd Whitman. It says, anyone who thinks that they are too small to make a difference has never tried to fall asleep with a hungry mosquito in the room. And so I leave you with this thought. Decide to make the most of every opportunity and and deliver not just a speech, but a message that will change lives. It's not about me, it's not about you, but about those that we choose to touch today with our lives. Thank you. Toastmasters.